Welcome to VCHS Live Programming. Thank you for joining us today. Our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances, shows, and events from international stages and artists to audiences around the globe. My name is Steve Robinson, and I'll be your host for tonight's program. And today we are following our film crew on another exploration of music and musicians around the globe, and presenting another concert from Orchestras Worldwide Live. Today's program will take us to the state of Ohio for the Classical Heroes program. It's called Classical Heroes, and this is tonight, March 7th, 2026. And the concert is with the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra performing at the First Baptist Church in Hamilton, Ohio. Our crew spent several days with musicians here in Hamilton, and musicians and administrators of the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra with music director Scott Woodard and the soloist for tonight's concert. We're going to be hearing interviews with Scott Woodard in a little bit, but we have some interviews with our two soloists. Our first soloist is Kate Lee, and Kate will be performing the first movement of the Schumann Piano Concerto, number 1. Kate is aged 13. She began studying the piano at the age of 4 under the guidance of Dr. Anu Spenskaya and Frane Rusinovic, and she's entered so many competitions. If I read them all to you tonight, it would take up the rest of the broadcast, but I'll single out two. In 2020, she won first place at the 2020 Forte International Music Competition and Festival. And then just 2 years later, when she was, 12, she won first prize in the American Fine Arts Festival Concerto Competition. She's performed multiple times at Carnegie Hall, in the Weil Recital Hall there, and the Zankel Hall. And she is just a very, very accomplished young musician. And it was my great pleasure to speak to Kate earlier today. And we're very delighted to have Kate Lee with us tonight. Kate is performing tonight with the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. She'll be performing the first movement from the Piano Concerto number 1 by Robert Schumann. Kate, it's a delight to have you here tonight.
Thank you. It's nice to see you too.
Now, you're here in Ohio tonight, but you're actually from Fairfax, Virginia, and that's where you were born and where you started studying. How old were you when you first started playing the piano?
I was 4 years old when I
4.
first started playing.
And who was your first teacher?
My teacher was Dr. Anna Ospenskaya.
So she was your first teacher even at 4 years old?
Yes.
And when you took your first lessons, whose idea was it that you wanted to play the piano?
My mom first introduced me to the piano, and then Miss Anna said that she could teach me, and from then on I was excited to play.
Now, do you remember the first year when you were playing? You're only 4 years old, so that's not that many years ago, actually. It's about 9 or 10 years ago. Did you get a sense that it was something you really liked, that you really enjoyed? Did you actually like to practice?
Yes, I actually did when I was younger. It was exciting for me to press the buttons on the piano and see how they made sounds.
Now, since you just started 9 years ago, but now, as we'll talk in a minute, you're playing in competitions, you're playing big deal piano concertos. Your progress from the age, say, of 4 to 5 and 6 must have been pretty rapid.
I would like to say so, yes.
And so what pieces did you, when was the first time you, for example, played a Mozart piano sonata? You must have done that maybe at the age of 7 or something like that?
Yes, that is correct.
And who are some of your favorite composers?
I really enjoyed playing Mozart sonatas, and I really liked all the composers I played, but I think I really like Mozart and Beethoven the best.
I'm sure you had to, not had to, but I'm sure you played a lot of Bach as well, I'll bet.
Yes.
That's right. You probably started maybe with the two-part inventions and then went on to somewhat more complex music, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, as you're growing up, what drew you to music? What is it that you love about music, or what does music mean to you as a young person? You're still quite young, but as a 6 or 7 or 8 year old person, you kept being drawn to it. What was it?
I think it was playing for the audience and
Ah,
having people listen to me. That kind of felt like a motivation for me to make music for them.
now in 2020, when
Yes.
you were 9 or something like that, you entered the Forte International Music Competition and Festival. That was in 2020, so that was already 5 or 6 years ago, and
Yes.
you won first place. Tell us about that competition.
Um, I remember getting really excited when I got first place because I didn't really expect it. But after, I was just glad that I actually got to play for the audience. But when I also heard that I got a prize, I was really happy.
And do you remember some of the pieces you played? Was it a concerto or more of a
Um,
recital?
I'm, I think it was a recital, but I don't remember that well.
Now, you just said something very interesting. You were happy to have won, but you got more pleasure just out of the fact of playing for people.
Yes.
So you're very excited when you get in front of an audience. Now tonight you'll be playing the Schumann. Um, as you're getting ready to go out on stage, you're back with the conductor. The door opens. What's going through your mind at that moment?
I feel like it's just me and the orchestra and the conductor, and I don't really see anyone else. And it's like the hall is very quiet, and everything's focused on me. So it's kind of like a dream, but it's kind of very nervous because I don't want to like mess up or anything.
It's kind of like a dream. That's an interesting thought. So you're almost in a dream world, and while you love playing for people, you seem to tune them out at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite an intellectual feat to be able to do that because you're enjoying playing, but you've tuned them out. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of interesting way of looking at it. Now, the Schumann, is this the first time you're playing it with an orchestra?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh. And how long have you been studying it?
I was introduced to Schumann in September, but I actually started practicing like playing through the first movements in November
Wait a
through
minute, November.
Yes.
That was just a few months ago.
Yes, so from November through February, I actually played the first, second, and third movements and rehearsed them with my piano teacher.
I see. Tell us a little bit about the piece, the Schumann. It's a very popular composition. Schumann was a wonderful composer. Would you call it a romantic or a classical piece?
I would say in some parts it is romantic, since like for example, the second movement, it's really uh, lyrical and very graceful as the melodies of the soloist and the orchestra.
Hmm. Now, what should we be looking for? What are your favorite moments in that first movement? What do you look forward to the most in that piece?
In the first movement, uh, I really like the main theme in general because it's kind of like a back and forth dialogue with the orchestra and me as the orchestra first comes in and then I play the same theme again.
Hmm. Very exciting. Well, I know it's going to be a spectacular performance. Let's talk just a bit before you go about about the future. What pieces are you working on that you might be playing in the next few years?
Um, for now, I am focusing on the second and third movements of Schumann. And back at home, I still have a Mozart sonata and a Rachmaninoff melody. So I still have a few solo pieces at home.
And what concerto would you most like to play that right now might be a little bit out of reach for you, but what's your most favorite concerto that you might like to play someday?
The Ravel Piano Concerto.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. The Rachmaninoff, if you think you'll approach the Rachmaninoff concertos someday?
Hopefully, yes.
And finally, Kate, do you have ideas about going to college? Do you think you'll be a music major? Do you think piano will be your career?
I'm not sure yet, but hopefully I will continue it.
Well, I hope you do too, Kate. You're a wonderful person to talk with. I'm fascinated to hear you talk about playing as being in a dream. I love that image of the soloist coming out and kind of tuning out in a very respectful way, tuning out the audience, but you're there for the audience. It's a wonderful
Yes.
dynamic, and I think that's lovely. So we'll be watching you dream tonight, and I hope it's a good dream, and good luck with the performance. Kate Lee playing the first movement of the Piano Concerto Number 1 by Robert Schumann. Kate, it's been delightful to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is delightful to talk with a young person who is so inspired and who works so hard. And I know we're all looking forward to hearing Kate's performance in just a few minutes with the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. And she'll be playing the first movement of the Schumann Piano Concerto. And we also had an opportunity earlier today to talk with the second soloist in the program, and that's Calliope Smith. That's right. Her name is Calliope Smith, and she'll be playing the Zigeunerweisen, or Gypsy Airs, Opus 20 by Pablo de Sarasate. And it's a very popular piece. It was written in 1878. Sarasate lived from 1844 to 1908. He spent most of his career after leaving Spain in France. And I believe he also toured the United States. He was a virtuoso violinist. And this piece is very, very well known, but very beautiful, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Calliope is 14 years old. She's passionate about channeling the character of each piece she performs. We talk a bit about this in the interview you're going to hear in a moment, but she has won and played in more competitions than we have time to talk about. I think I mentioned some of those in the intro to her. She has been invited to solo with the New York Concerti Sinfonietta and the Palo Alto Chamber Orchestra. And if we don't go into it during the interview, I'll mention when we're done about some of the people she studied with, a very distinguished list of people. And I just had a wonderful time talking with Calliope Smith, and here's that interview. And we're delighted to have with us in the studio Calliope Smith, who will be a soloist tonight in the Zigeunerweisen, the Gypsy Airs, Opus 20 by Pablo de Sarasate. Calliope, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Calliope, I want to talk to you a little bit about this piece that you're going to be playing, but first, I need to ask you, where are you from?
I am from the San Francisco Bay Area.
I see. And how did you find your way to Ohio tonight?
I was playing in the orchestra competition, and then the amazing Butler Philharmonic reached out to me to ask if I would want to play Zigeunerweisen with them, to which I, of course, said yes, and here I am, really excited to play.
Now, you're 14 years old, and how old were you when you picked up the violin?
When I started playing the violin, it was actually a third birthday present to me because,
Third.
yeah, because I had heard my mom, who used to be a violinist, not professionally, playing in the living room of my house when I was like 2 years old, and I just listened to her, and I told myself I need to play like that, and I want to be able to express myself through music. So for my third birthday, she took me to my first violin lesson.
Oh, my goodness. But at the age of 2, you you were sensitive to music, and you heard something that you liked. At the age of 2, you can't even hold a violin, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they have like very tiny violins for like two
Right.
and 3 year olds, which was what I started on.
Uh-huh. Now, I know it was a long time ago in terms of your life, but not that many years ago. Do you remember the first few lessons? Do you remember when you first picked it up and you started playing it? I mean, did you ever say, I'll never be able to do this?
Yeah, I mean, when I started playing violin, obviously I didn't really know how much of a struggle it was going to be. I don't think any 3-year-old can comprehend, like, it's going to take decades to master an instrument. But I think originally I was kind of slowly progressing and getting better. And then maybe around when I was 8, I was starting to do more full performances. And then I was really finding a way to express myself through music.
So you must have come along pretty fast because you picked it up by 3, and by the 8, you were already playing full pieces. So you progressed very rapidly. You clearly have a talent and a gift for it, but it's not just talent and a gift. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. You practice. How long do you practice every day?
Right now with school, I'm practicing 4 hours every day.
No, really.
Yeah.
I see. And who are your principal teachers in the Bay Area?
Right now, I'm studying with Simon James and Chen Zhao at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music.
Uh, are they in the orchestra?
Chen Zhao is in the SF Symphony, and
Hmm.
Simon James used to be in the Seattle Symphony.
Right. Now, Calliope, it would take me the rest of the interview to just read off the competitions that you've been in. I'll do it fast. The Arte Grumio International, the Vancouver International, the Odin, the Chicago International, the American Virtuoso, the Camerado Orchestra, on and on and on and on. When did you start entering competitions?
I started entering competitions when I was 8 after I did
You're
my
8.
first recording.
Your first recording?
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Is that recording available?
I'm pretty sure it is on YouTube, yeah.
What did you play?
I played one of the Vivaldi violin concertos.
Oh my goodness. So what is it about competitions that attracts you? And you're a veteran competition competitor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good learning experience, especially because, when you're preparing for a competition or preparing for recording, you're under some pressure. And obviously, I can do a lot with violin just by having the passion and love for the instrument, but sometimes having a little bit of stress as well is helpful for my technical development.
Right. Now, something has jumped out at me about your resume, and you're 14-year-old, but you recently have started championing the work of women composers, including Florence Price, Lily Boulanger, and Amy Beach, and others. That's really quite a remarkable thing you're doing, and why?
Well, I feel like in history, women composers have been seriously underrepresented, as we can see with, like, obviously there was a bunch of sexism in earlier centuries or even decades in the 20th century. So I feel like now in modern times we kind of have a responsibility to reverse that as best as possible, and still maybe there's a lot of more famous composers who are male, and then the ones who were female previously aren't as played now because they weren't popular at their time because of their gender.
Right. And what pieces by Amy Beach? If I'm not mistaken, Amy Beach is from Boston. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
That's right. And I have a friend who did a documentary film about Amy Beach, which
Oh my gosh.
you can see on PBS. She's a pianist, Virginia Eskin, and you can Google her. You'll see the movie. What other composers you mentioned? Now these are composers from history: Lily Boulanger and Amy Beach and Florence Price. Any contemporary composers, women composers?
I have not played many contemporary pieces, but I am actually looking into some more contemporary pieces, and I'm probably going to do one by a female composer in the future.
Well, to me, it's quite remarkable that a young person such as yourself is decided to champion the work of women composers. You're absolutely right. I mean, they're women. For example, Robert Schumann's sister, or rather Mendelssohn's sister, didn't really get much urging to become a composer. I think Mozart's sister might have been a composer if she had been given the chance. You go on and on and on. So I'm just very amazed that you're doing this, and I wish you the best of that. Now, tell us a little bit about this piece. It's called Zigeunerweisen, which is Gypsy Airs, Opus 20, by the Spanish composer Pablo de Sarasate. Now, tonight you'll be performing that. Tell us a little bit about it and what attracts you to it and what we should be listening for.
Yeah, Yeah, so I started playing this piece like 2 years ago because I had heard it in a performance, and I just immediately went up to my teacher and I was like, this is a piece that I definitely want to play. I think it's really fun. It's really spontaneous, right? We have very attacking sections, very musical sections. There's like, it starts very loud and soloistic, and there's a bunch of fast runs, and then it goes into this soft, delicate section before speeding back up again and ending very dramatically, which I feel like is really expressive and fun to play.
That's wonderful. So let me ask you, you're backstage, you're with the conductor, the door is about to open, you're going to walk out, and what's running through your mind?
Well, to be honest, there is a bunch of nervousness usually that I get before performing, but I just try to focus on the pieces because I really enjoy playing them. So I just think to myself, like, how am I going to play this piece? What emotions am I going to think about? Am I going to start very soloistically? Am I going to start soft? How do I cue my entrance? Am I going to breathe before I start playing? And then I just go out there and do what I've been practicing for months.
Well, Calliope Smith, we appreciate your coming by. I'm very much looking forward to your performance, and I wish
Thank
you the
you.
best of luck tonight, but also in your career.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you,
thank you so much
Calliope.
for having me here.
Thank you. Well, as you can see, a very delightful young lady and very accomplished, and just something, a certain amount of humility that she has too, and poise. And for a 14-year-old, that's quite amazing. And we'll be looking forward in a few minutes to hearing her performance of the Gypsy Airs by Pablo de Sarasate, which she'll be performing with the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. And we are awaiting the appearance on stage of the conductor of the orchestra, the Dr. Scott Woodard. And the program, I'll just review that with you very briefly. It will begin with the Egmont Overture by Beethoven, as Opus 84, one of my favorite pieces. I've conducted it many times myself in front of a mirror, but we'll go into that. And then the Piano Concerto Number 1, the first movement with Kate. She'll be the soloist there in that first movement. And then, as you just heard, the Gypsy Airs, Opus 20 by Pablo de Sarasate. And then after intermission, we didn't have a soloist to talk to about this piece, but it's the mighty Eroica Symphony, written by a 34-year-old composer by the name of Beethoven. And that's going to conclude the program. One of the greatest pieces he ever wrote, of course. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. I wanted to just say a few words about our conductor. Scott Woodard has not only conducts the Butler's Philharmonic Orchestra, he is the conductor of, or has conducted, the West Virginia Symphony, the Ohio Valley Symphony, the Huntington Symphony Orchestra, the Pittsburgh Philharmonic, and many others. He's conducted in, I'll speak to him about this, you'll hear an interview during admission. He has conducted in Florence, Italy, and we'll talk to him about his experiences there. The one thing that I admire the most about Scott is his devotion to education. He's passionate about teaching kids, and he teaches a lot, and he's always very eager to help young people master or at least enjoy music. He has a degree in musical arts from Boston University, where I also have a degree in music education from BU. Scott went on to become a musician. I went on to become a radio person, but we all do what we have to do. So the Butler Philharmonic is celebrating this year its 75th birthday. They are 75 years old, which is quite remarkable. And they'll be doing a gala, which we'll be talking about a little later in the program, to celebrate their 75th birthday. I had a chance to speak, we won't hear that interview, but I spoke with Missy Beers, who is the executive director of the Butler Symphony. And it is a remarkable organization because it isn't just a symphony, they also have a chorus, and they have a youth orchestra. And the symphony doesn't give just 3 or 4 concerts, they give 8 to 12 concerts per year. And the budget, it's public information. I asked Missy about it. I thought maybe I was going to guess about $1 million. It's 250,000. So the amazing dedication of these musicians and Missy and the conductor and everybody in the community that pulls for this Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. My own congratulations to all of them. We hear a lot about the great orchestras in the United States, the Chicago Symphony and Los Angeles Philharmonic, the San Francisco, all of them, of course, are wonderful, beautiful, fantastic orchestras. But you don't hear very much about orchestras such as the Butler Philharmonic. But as you're going to hear in just a few minutes, they're a wonderful ensemble. They bring a great deal of culture to this community. It's a tribute to what America really is all about, because America is not just about the New York Philharmonic and the San Francisco Symphony. The League of American Orchestras in New York, which is or in Washington, I forgot where, which is an association of the orchestras which supports them, has 900 members, close to 1,000 members of the League of American Orchestras. So underneath the top tier of orchestras, we have a wonderful second tier, you might say, like in Milwaukee or Nashville. And below that, and it's not below anything, these are wonderful orchestras and ensembles that are dedicated to bringing great music to communities, however small they may be. And you're going to see and hear in just a few minutes, the Butler Philharmonic is one of the really wonderful orchestras in our country. And you'll hear that in a moment. Dr. Woodard, who was a wonderful person to talk with. You'll hear that interview a little later. As I mentioned, earned his Doctor of Musical Arts in Orchestra Conducting from Boston University. He has participated in master classes with internationally renowned conductors like Leonid Korchmar and Piotr Gribinov, and he holds a degree in music education and with 3 decades of experience in academic and teaching of all kind. And there's his website. You can learn all about him if you'd like. I really enjoyed working with him, and I see that the orchestra is in place and somebody is making a speech. You have to make a speech before a concert, and I hope they're talking about their 75th anniversary, because it's quite something. 1951, and they've been performing not just the orchestra, as I mentioned, but the choir and the youth orchestra, the Butler Philharmonic Youth Orchestra. They've been performing for 75 years. And we can hear a little bit of the speech there right now. And if they're urging people to support the orchestra, maybe our viewers around the world to this broadcast will also think about supporting this wonderful orchestra, because to have reached 75 years is quite remarkable, I think, from 1951. And the repertoire that they have been performed over the years is very broad, and you can just see it from this concert tonight. Beethoven, Schumann, Sarasate, and then another piece by Beethoven, the mighty Eroica Symphony. The Eroica is a piece that never fails to inspire. That's the thing about classical music. You really never tire of listening to a composition. I've probably heard the Eroica Symphony in concert and on tape and records and CDs probably 200 times, and each time is a wonderful experience. So we expect any moment now for Scott Woodard to make his appearance on stage, and he'll be conducting the Egmont Overture, a very dramatic, very short piece by Beethoven. It's just one of my favorite pieces. And this is taking place all at the First Baptist Church of Hamilton, Ohio, and we're going to, in a moment, be hearing this concert conducted by Scott Woodard. You can make comments on any of the platforms that we're on. We're on so many platforms around the world. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook and X and YouTube and Vimeo and TikTok, and you name it, and Virtual Concert Halls is there. So you can also subscribe to Virtual Concert Halls at the URL you'll see there, virtualconcerthalls.com. And Virtual Concert Halls itself, which is bringing you this concert, is dedicated to doing concerts just like this, bringing gifted young people from around the world to play at home, usually. That's why it's called Virtual Concert Halls. It was founded during the pandemic as a way to give young people a stage, a way to perform when there weren't that many opportunities during that terrible time. And that's how it was formed, but it's gone on. And they have competitions all over the world, from musicians all over the world. And the competitions, they also give concerts at the Weill Recital Hall, where I've had the opportunity to be at those concerts and MC a few of them. And the level of performance and the expertise and the passion and the dedication of the young people that Virtual Concert Halls brings to the stage is really quite inspiring to me as someone who's been involved in radio and music for quite some time. To see these young people perform actually makes you a little bit teary when you see a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old performing a Chopin piece or a wonderful Beethoven concerto. It's remarkable. It's a gift that they have, which you can't teach. They have to have it. But then, as you heard one of our, I think it was Calliope, who said she practices 4 hours a day. And for a 14-year-old, that shows the remarkable dedication that she has. So we're having some little speeches in front of the orchestra tonight. And again, I hope they're talking about this orchestra's 75th birthday. That looks like the executive director, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, but can't be sure of that, who I had talked with earlier today. And when she told me all about the orchestra, that it's not just the Butler Philharmonic, it's also the chorus that they have, and a youth symphony. I mean, this is a lot of stuff to juggle, and they give, like many orchestras of this size might give 2 or 3 concerts a year, they give 8 to 12 concerts per year here in Hamilton, Ohio, the Butler Philharmonic. And so they're to be applauded, and we are going to be hearing a lot of applause tonight. You'll notice the timpani out there in front. Maybe they couldn't fit him in the back there, but you'll be hearing a lot of timpani tonight. He's right up there with the piano. So I don't think there's a concerto for piano and timpani tonight, but anyway, there he is. And we do expect Scott to come on stage at any moment. Review the schedule for you again. It's Egmont, and this is a piece that Beethoven wrote really in kind of his second period. He wrote it along with the 5th and 7th symphonies. It's a mighty piece. If you don't know it, it's just one of my favorites. And after that, Kate Lee will come out and perform the first movement of the Schumann. And I'm hearing some applause. Is Scott out there yet? No. Okay, in any moment now, Scott will be on stage to perform the Beethoven Overture, the Egmont Overture. Expect him on stage any minute after they unplug that mic and get the stage all set for Scott's performance here. We're looking forward to it, and I know you are as well. Scott has been conducting for many, many years, Scott Woodard. He is the artistic director and the conductor of the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. And you'll hear more from Scott during intermission. I had a great opportunity to talk with him, and he was a delight. And this is our concertmaster, Vincent Phelan, who is taking his bows. In a moment, the orchestra will be tuning up. That's his job, one of his jobs. In fact, I did interview him. I'm not sure we'll be hearing that interview. He's a very distinguished violinist, and he's been performing a long time and has been a concertmaster all over the Midwest, and a really wonderful guy. Also, with his wife, he has a foundation that enables young people to who don't quite have the funds to study to do that. He's been doing that for over 30 years with his wife, Vince Phelan. So that was a wonderful interview as well. And so now, in just a few seconds, we expect the appearance on stage of our conductor, Scott Woodard, and he'll be performing the first piece on this concert, which is the Egmont Overture, Opus 84, by a 34-year-old Ludwig van Beethoven. And here he is. And that was a performance of the Gypsy Airs by Pablo de Sarasate, and a very stunning performance by Calliope Smith on violin. Calliope, a 14-year-old from the Bay Area, and a magnificent performance. And before that, we heard Kate Lee, and she performed the first movement of the Schumann Piano Concerto. Kate is also about the same age, 13 or 14 years old, from, I believe she's from Virginia. And we opened the concert with the Egmont Overture by Beethoven. And I probably heard the Egmont Overture 100 times live and on tape and orchestras around the United States and in Europe. And that was one of the best performances I've ever heard. I must say I was sort of blown away by the quality of that performance and by the quality of the two soloists and the orchestra in general. This is a magnificent tribute to this community in Hamilton, Ohio. And that was the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Scott Woodard. And it's intermission time here now in the hall. And we have two interviews which we're going to hear during intermission. But I just wanted to say a few words about the Butler Philharmonic. They were founded in 1951 as the Hamilton Symphony. They were founded by Doctors Fred Baumgartner, Kurt Lande, and Joseph Bein. And they've been dedicated all these 75 years to outstanding and uncommon programming. And they've thrilled to the sounds of international guest artists, as well as young people, such as you just heard. The 75-member professional Butler Phil typically presents 4 to 5 concerts, although I did interview Missy Beers, the executive director, earlier today. We'll hear that interview in a moment. She told me there were like 8 to 12 concerts. So the information here is a little old. It's amazing that an orchestra in a community that serves about 100,000 people is giving so many concerts. Also, in 1997, they formed the Butler Philharmonic Chorus. It made its debut at the Ohio Mozart Festival in 1997. In 2005, the chorus performed under the baton of noted English composer John Rutter in Carnegie Hall. And in 2018, the chorus returned to Carnegie to perform with Maestro Paul John Stanbury's own music for Mass. So it's a remarkable orchestra, but that's not all. They also have a youth orchestra. And so when you put those three together, you have the Butler Philharmonic, the Butler Philharmonic Chorus, and the Butler Symphony Youth Orchestra. It's quite an amazing feat for a community like this to pull together so much music. And I also wanted to mention that tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, the Butler Philharmonic will be making a recording of some of the pieces you heard in this concert, I think. And that recording is part of the Sound Espressivo, what they're doing with so many young artists. And these recordings are really quite something. Now, Kate Lee, the soloist in the Schumann, released an album that was produced by Sound Espressivo and the Virtual Concert Hall's platform last year. It was a recording of the Beethoven Piano Concerto No. 1, featuring Kate Lee and the Orchestra Manhattan, and that was quite a feat. There's also a digital presence. The recording is available on major streaming platforms, on Apple Music, on Spotify, probably on YouTube. It's often listed under the name Kate Lee with Orchestra Manhattan. I understand that one recording has 50,000 views already, so that's quite something. I also wanted to mention, we're talking about the Butler Phil harmonic. We should mention as well that, as I said, they were founded in 1951. If you do the math, they are now 75 years old. So that's quite a feat. And they are having a gala, and it will be on April 19th. It's coming right up, just 6 weeks or so. April 19th. The event is called the Spring Fest Annual Gala. It's from 4 to 7 p.m., and it'll be a dinner and live music entertainment with ensembles from the Butler Phil, and a silent auction, all the usual things you have at a gala. But this one is really special because of the fact that it's the 75th anniversary. Now, I did have an opportunity earlier today to speak with this wonderful conductor, Scott Woodard, and he is quite an amazing gentleman, as you're going to hear in just a minute. This is my interview with Scott Woodard. And we're very delighted to have with us in the studio tonight Dr. Scott Woodard, who is the conductor tonight of the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. Dr. Woodard, very welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. It's wonderful to talk with you.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the program that you're going to be conducting tonight, but before we do, just a little bit about your career, because you conduct not only the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra, but also the West Virginia State Philharmonic Orchestra. You've conducted around the United States, and I notice as well that you've conducted in Italy and Florence, in Italy and Russia, and you conducted the Florence Chamber Orchestra. Tell us a little bit about your work with the Florence Orchestra.
It's a wonderful orchestra. I went there nearly 2 years ago as part of a conductor exchange, and had the opportunity to conduct a wonderful program of Mozart, Mozart's Symphony No. 40, the great G minor, and it also happened to be brass week there. And little known fact, I'm a brass player. Way back in the day, I was a trumpet player. And we had soloists we had two horn soloists, we had a tuba soloist on a concerto I had never conducted before, but it was a week-long celebration of brass, and there's such a wonderful orchestra, so amazingly giving. I had a wonderful experience there. I hope to go back.
Well, that's terrific. I notice also that you are a teacher, and
Yes.
You're on the faculty. Where are my notes here? You're on the faculty of the West Virginia State University. Tell us about your work in education, because I noticed that you're very dedicated, from the notes that I read, to helping young people, not just musicians, but young people in general, to learn to love classical music, and it's so critical.
Yes, indeed. I mean, despite my youthful good looks, I have been teaching 39 years. I'm getting
Wow.
ready to start my
Wow.
40th year of teaching at all levels of education. I began in the public school system as a high school band director before I made the jump to higher education about 20 years ago. So young people and making music and sharing that gift of music with young people has been something in my heart and soul since really in my junior high days. I was one of those weird individuals who knew from the seventh grade on that I wanted to stand in front of ensembles, and it began with young people. I annoyed my teachers long enough that they let me stand up in front of ensembles far before I was ever prepared to do so, and so consequently, I've spent a life not only in professional music making, but encouraging young people to make music and trying to share that gift about the beauty and power of music that was given to me by teachers.
You know, throughout my career in classical radio, which spans 50 years, if you can believe it, because I know I don't look at, we hear almost all the time, we hear that classical music is dying and that the audience is dying and it's going to be over. But it's been 50 years I've been hearing this, and we seem to be doing just fine. As a matter of fact, classical radio, particularly with recent political events, has never been done better. So what's going on?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's the sky has always been falling on
Always.
classical music, and you know, it's unfortunate because there's still a wonderful audience out there, a supportive audience here in Butler County in Ohio. We have an amazing group of people who support this organization. They come to every concert. They're knowledgeable. They want to know what are you programming? What can I come and hear this season and things like that. So, you know, I think there are a lot of henny pennies in the world of classical music who do think that the sky is falling on us. But you know, we're getting ready tomorrow night to play Beethoven after all these centuries, and he's still as strong as he ever was. And so I think he's safe. I really do.
Yes, I think he's pretty safe too. You know, actually, we live in a way in a golden age of in the sense of having access to classical music. It's all over. It's on Spotify. It's on Thisify and Thatify, and so anybody who wants to dive in can do it at their fingertips. Now, there's a kind of a dark side to that too, but
There
mostly it's just wonderfully accessible, like it's never been before.
Indeed. I mean, we all carry a supercomputer in our pockets, and we
Right.
can access YouTube, and we can access all of those streaming services. And what I hope is that access creates in people a desire to go to the concert hall, because you and I both know that there is absolutely no substitute for experiencing live music. We can listen to Bernstein conduct Beethoven 3 100 times, and it will always be the same. But we can come to the concert hall, and it will be different in some way, whether minute or monumental. It will be different every time. It will reflect the emotions of the players. It will reflect the emotions of the listener, what you bring to that concert hall experience. So I encourage all your listeners to use those streaming services and develop that love, but come on to the concert hall. Come on to
That's right.
It's a different experience.
Now, speaking of concerts, so you've put together a very interesting one tonight. So tell us in general, what do you try to do when you put a concert together? Because you have four pieces. They're each a little bit different from each other. The first half has music of Prokofiev, a well-known classical symphony, a beautiful piano concerto by Schumann, and the Zigeunerweisen by Sarasate. How did you put those three pieces together?
You know, most of the time, I like, in terms of programming, to find a way to make an arch that is overarching for not only a program itself, but for the season as well. And I like very much to have the soloists in place first, and then build a program that complements those soloists. This time we programmed in reverse. We programmed the rest in reverse, and my goal was really to show the width and breadth of the classic era of music. Now, I know what you're thinking. Prokofiev's 20th century composer, but if you look at this classical symphony that Prokofiev wrote, his desire was to create. He wanted to do two things. He wanted to create a symphony without the use of the piano, which is quite amazing to me, to be able to compose without the use of the piano. But when you look at the other symphonic work, you know that Beethoven composed without a significant amount of hearing as well. That inner hearing that caused them to be able to do what they did. But also at the same time, I wanted to show Prokofiev wanted to create a piece of music that had the spirit of Haydn, as though Haydn had lived into the current era.
Very
and
interesting.
He said, yeah, if Prokofiev had lived into the current era, he would have, or I'm sorry, if Haydn had lived into the current era, he would have still sounded like Haydn, but he would have learned something along the way too.
Right.
So we would have heard a Haydn with a 20th century twist, and that's exactly what Prokofiev is. So.
The Schumann is a beautiful, I'm not sure it's classical or romantic, doesn't really matter, a concerto. And the piece by Sarasate, the soloist is who for that?
Sarasate is being played on this concert by a young lady named Calliope Smith.
Calliope Smith.
A wonderful violinist. It's such a flavorful piece, and we rehearsed together for the first time last night. And she played those first three notes, and as the conductor, you're always a little apprehensive going in to that first rehearsal, and I heard those first three notes, and in my mind I said, this is going to be beautiful.
Wonderful. And then after intermission, as you say, it's the Eroica Symphony by Beethoven.
Yes.
He made a big splash with that. I don't think the musical world was as challenged, shall we say, until The Rite of Spring, about 100 years later. So it was a very epic moment in musical history.
Indeed, it was. I agree.
So as you're backstage, let's pretend, and you're about to come on stage for the Prokofiev, what's running through the conductor's mind just before you're told to go out and start conducting?
Thousands of things. I would love to be able to say to you that the only thing in my mind is that Mannheim skyrocket that Prokofiev opens the symphony with.
Right.
But that's running around in my mind, but also in my mind is silly things like Are the Lights Down? Has the concertmaster tuned the orchestra? All of those silly little things that I know that our staff takes care of in a beautiful manner every time. But that the teacher in me, that kind of quasi-parent who wants to shepherd everything to perfection, that takes over backstage as well. So I'm thinking about 1,000, perhaps 1,000,000 things all at once, and but all of that really with the soundtrack of Prokofiev in my head.
Well, Dr. Woodard, thanks for your time. I know it's going to be a wonderful concert. Go out there on that podium and really rock the house.
Thank you so much. It's been delightful talking with you.
Thank you. Well, that was Dr. Scott Woodard, the artistic director and conductor of the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. And as I said when I started this intermission, he really did rock the house. I was so impressed with the sound that he got of the Egmont. As I mentioned, I've heard that piece, as I'm sure many of you have, hundreds of times. And that performance was as good a performance as you might want. And to think that it's being done by an orchestra in a small community here in Hamilton, Ohio, the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra, it's quite remarkable, and it's a great tribute to Dr. Woodard. Now, I should say that he is not the first conductor. It's 75 years old, so that's probably true. From 1994 until his retirement in 2019, Maestro Paul John Stanbury led the Butler Phil to new heights, and he was there for 25 years as music director and principal conductor, and he transformed what was called the Hamilton Symphony, they're in Hamilton, Ohio, to the orchestra that it is today. And we hear some applause there. I think we're going to be hearing a speech. Are we going to carry that on the broadcast?
Thank you so much for coming. Did you enjoy the first half of the Tonight we are celebrating heroes, and I'm not sure about you, but I have two new heroes after tonight. These amazing musicians have come to us for this evening's performance, and soloists have come to us through our connection with Sound Espressivo Studios and virtual concert halls, and it has been such a treat to work with them musically, but also to have lunch with them and learn a little bit about them. And I wanted to share just a little bit of what I learned. Calliope, our violinist, Calliope Smith, Calliope is from California. She came to us all the way from California. And in addition to playing the violin, she enjoys spending time with her friends and things at school like that. It's like you would expect any other, now wait for this, any other 14-year-old. Calliope, thank you for being here. Piano soloist this evening is Kate Lee. Kate is with us this evening from Northern Virginia in the Washington, D.C. area. And she is, as you know, a tremendous pianist. And I think I might have gotten to see her outside of rehearsal two times this entire weekend because she was here practicing on this piano all the time. And in addition to playing the piano, she's also an expert fencer. So I learned not to make her angry during rehearsal. And Kate is actually 13 years old. So. As I said, we celebrate heroes tonight, musical heroes. And in my mind, there is no greater hero that I have than Ludwig van Beethoven. And we opened our program with the Egmont Overture, which is a fiery and heroic thing. And we're closing our program with the Symphony No. 3 in E flat, the Eroica, the heroic symphony. It's amazing how time turns and passes, and yet we find ourselves in a world full of politics, just as Beethoven did in 1803. Napoleon had conquered France and was trying to conquer the rest of the world as well. And in the beginning, Beethoven believed in his ideals. He believed in what Napoleon was going to change for the world and to make this place a place of equality and fraternity and all those kinds. But then, as fate tells us, Napoleon went and had himself crowned emperor. And Napoleon, this grand symphony that he had been working on and dedicated to Napoleon, he scratched out that title and dedicated it to the memory of a great man. In other words, the Napoleon that he admired was now dead to him. This is an amazing symphony. Settle in. It will take us a little bit to play it for you, but tonight we pay tribute to our hero Beethoven. We also pay tribute to you, our heroes, for coming and supporting our orchestra. Thank you so much.
And with that performance of the Symphony Number 3 by Beethoven, Eroica, we've come to the end of this full-length concert by the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra, Scott Woodard conducting. Scott is shaking the hands of the musicians now, asking all the musicians to stand with him, and getting a standing ovation, as you can see, from the members of the audience here in Hamilton, Ohio. And I must say that was a magnificent performance, and it was a magnificent concert. The entire concert was just terrific, and we're so glad that you were able to join us. That performance by the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra was part of their 75th year. This is the 75th anniversary year of the Butler Symphony, and to perform at this level in such a small community is a tribute to this orchestra, this community, and to the strength of classical music, not only in Ohio, but in America. And this orchestra will be having a 75th milestone gala on April 19th. It's coming right up. So if you're listening and you're anywhere near Hamilton, Ohio, that's April 19th from 4 to 7 p.m. There'll be entertainment from the Butler Philharmonic Ensembles, a silent auction featuring luxury items and local experiences. And of course, the purpose is to raise funds supporting the youth orchestra, the Butler Philharmonic Youth Orchestra. And as I mentioned, we've come to the end of this concert. I want to thank the musicians of the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra for their dedication, for their performance. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank many of our supporters and contributors of the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. And there you see some of them on your screen right now. And you can see that it does take a village to support an orchestra like this. And what a magnificent orchestra it is. I must say I'm a little bit speechless, to tell you the truth, about how magnificent the sound of this orchestra is. And I'd also like to mention Sound Espressivo's album recording project. Throughout the year, this concert, which is brought to you by Sound Espressivo, organizes professional album recording opportunities with orchestra for selected artists. And our next recording is tomorrow with the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra. And after that, we have another exciting opportunity coming up with the Orchestra Manhattan on April 29th in New York. If you're interested, the application deadline currently listed as March 15th. So be sure to apply soon and learn more about the Sound Espressivo website. I'd also like to highlight the Cole Orchestra with Orchestra, a special Sound Espressivo project that connects soloists and orchestras around the world. Through Cole Orchestra, musicians of all ages can audition for opportunities to perform with professional orchestras internationally, as well as for recording projects and appearances at Carnegie Hall, the Carnegie Hall. The program is designed to be widely accessible through video submissions with no accompaniment required and no strict performance time limit, giving artists the chance to present what they do best, just like you heard tonight with Calliope Smith and Kate Lee. The current deadline listed is March 15th, so this is a wonderful time to learn more and apply through Sound Espressivo. And we're very grateful as well to our collaboration with Ciccarone. And you can see a little bit of a video there, a little graphic featuring this wonderful organization. We're grateful to this collaboration we have with Giancarlo Pera and the iClassical Academy and the Ciccarone Music and Arts and the director Irma de Jong, whose support of our program for the past nearly 5 years opened a lot of opportunities for musicians around the world. And we'd like to thank all of our partners and friends for the wonderful work that they've helped us do. Our partners include, as you can see, too many for me to mention, but this is what it takes. These are the organizations that Sound Espressivo and Virtual Concert Halls has worked with over the years, and I'm sure they're very proud now to add the Butler Symphony Orchestra to their list. We also stream on many different platforms. In fact, it's difficult to name a streaming platform that Virtual Concert Halls doesn't perform on. There you see it: Vimeo, YouTube, Alignable, X, probably LinkedIn, and so many others. So this is truly a worldwide organization, the Virtual Concert Halls. And now we'd like to thank our team at Virtual Concert Halls and all of the people behind the scenes who made this broadcast possible. There's so many people who have worked on this, our directors, our engineers, and so many other people. You see some of their names there. And now from the First Baptist Church in Hamilton, Ohio, this is Steve Robinson thanking you for watching this concert by the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra.